Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Ask Holly, our pros who know, and this is Holly Sammons. She is the president and CEO of the Central Florida Better Business Bureau. So we're talking today about something that I think everyone out there has experienced. And when
multiple
you
times
hear
a day,
the words Robo calls, everyone just goes, ugh.
Yeah.
What can we do about it? What's being done about it? What does the Better Business Bureau have as far as advice for consumers?
Isn't it funny that it's something that we have kind of come to accept about our day? You know, how many times does your phone ring and you look and you don't recognize the number? And depending on your carrier, they may or may not flag that it could be, you know, a fraudulent call, or it could be I can't remember what the carriers.
Telemarketers.
Yeah, well,
back in the day.
but in this case, we're talking about robocalls that may not have a live person on the other end of the line. And what's interesting is it's really changed how we interact with our phones. I mean, unless you're really waiting on a call and know what area code you're looking for or know what number you're waiting on, I mean, don't you think twice before answering the phone now?
100%. Yeah. Because just like you said, how many phone calls do you get on a daily basis?
Yeah.
I will say it seems like it's getting a little better.
Yeah.
But I feel like about 50% of the time, the call, even though it's coming from an area code I recognize, if I let it go to voicemail, they never leave a voicemail.
Right.
And I call back, I can tell it was a robocall.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing that we talked about earlier was that sometimes you'll see a number calling that is really close to your own phone number.
Yes.
And you know, one of the staffers here at KMG mentioned that he saw his phone number calling his number over and over again. So obviously that was a little bit of a mess up. But on the robocall end of things, using an auto dialer, using that computer software to generate those numbers. But, you know, it's called neighbor spoofing. So when they use your prefix, when they use the first three digits of your carrier's number, they know that you're more likely to pick up that number.
That's what I was about to say.
Because it looks familiar.
I've done it too, because especially if it's that prefix, I think, oh, this might be somebody I know.
That's right. Yeah, and that's what they're depending on. And, you know, what a lot of people don't think about is this actually hurts a lot of business professionals. Think about if you're a realtor or if you're a contractor. You depend on people picking up their phone. And then, you know, just when you have customers, we have consumers who come to Better Business Bureau looking for information on businesses they can trust. They get the information from us. They get the phone number. They call the contractor. They call the professional directly. And, you know, business owners can't help it. They have to pick up the phone. So, you know, they're really in a tough spot because how much of their day are they wasting on these, you know, wasted calls, on these robocalls? They don't have a choice. But consumers, we're less likely to pick up the phone. And so therefore, when we're receiving calls that are legitimate calls, whether it's the doctor's office, whether it is, you know, a friend, whether it's someone calling from a number you don't recognize, you almost always have to leave a message because they're not going to pick up the phone.
Can I tell you, my doctor's office was trying to get a hold of me. I wasn't picking up. They had to reach me by mail.
That's right.
So a lot of you out there, probably the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like they're getting to us really in our pockets now. So when someone receives a robocall, I know for myself, it's easy on my phone, once I know it's a robocall, just to block it.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is blocking may work, but it doesn't always work because oftentimes what they're using, it's almost like a computer software that tumbles numbers. If you think about like a bingo ball of numbers, it kind of tumbles those numbers and spits one out, and that's the caller ID or that's the number that you see calling you. And so blocking that combination of numbers, that only works once. But really what you should do is when you see that number coming in, if you feel like you're waiting on a call, if you don't feel like you just want to let it go to voicemail, you can pick up the phone, say hello, and usually the first 5 or so seconds will give you a pretty good indication of what they're calling about. Usually it is a recorded message, although it could be artificial intelligence. It could be essentially a computer on the other end of the line predicting your responses, answering when you ask questions, and it may sound very seamless, but the point is, if you're not looking for if you are not looking for a free vacation, again, nothing is free. Or if you receive a call, the call I continue to receive is, thank you for being a customer of American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa. Obviously,
one of those will fit.
Yeah, one of those will fit. And so that is not your bank and that's not your financial institution. Just hang up the phone. Don't press a number to opt out. Don't answer any questions. Just hang up the phone. And, will they keep calling? Maybe even probably. But don't give them any information. And if they ask you questions, if they want you to verify information, if they want you to give you PIN codes, if they want you, again, to press 0 or press 9 to opt out, don't do it, because what you're telling them is that that's a live number and that a real phone is attached to that number. And so now all of a sudden they're going to package all those numbers together that have been verified as real numbers, and they're going to sell it to someone else. So as soon as you pick up the phone, if you pick up the phone and you can tell that it's a robocall, just hang up.
So how do we know if some of these are illegal? Because just like I told you, my doctor's office was trying to get a hold of me. Obviously, that was a legitimate call that I just wasn't picking up because I thought it was a robocall. But when some of these entities are calling you, and how do you know if they're illegal and how do you report it? It's overwhelming at times.
Yeah. There was a time when the do not call registry was kind of the end all be all. And we really, Better Business Bureau would really recommend that consumers make sure that both their home and their cell phone were registered with the do not call registry. It's still good advice. It's still a good safety precaution or safety measure to take. But there are so many instances and there are so many loopholes to who can call you legitimately without violating that. That it's really hard to keep track. And then how do you know when those calls are illegal? The trouble there is, even if you report it, the difficulty in tracking down who made the call and where that call originated from. Oftentimes they originate from outside the United States. And so enforcement of that is very difficult. Really what we're seeing more now are our carriers, our cell phone carriers, are kind of pressures being applied to them to step up to the plate to protect their consumers. And so they are able to do things with, tracking IP addresses and things like that. And they can tell from kind of a global standpoint how many inbound calls are coming from certain areas of the world. They can pretty well tell what the markers are for robocalls. And so really now the pressure is being applied to them to help protect consumers. But many consumers have chosen apps, for example, to help protect themselves against robocalls. There are apps that you can download that were supposed to help you flag when a call might be a robocall. Do they work? They can. Okay. But again, just like blocking the number or just like reporting the number, because the numbers are kind of constantly always changing and again, tumbling into new numbers, it's really difficult for any piece of software or any piece of technology to really protect you. So the best thing you can do is just be aware when you answer the phone and, pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
I've also received calls where I didn't necessarily know the number and thought it may be someone I knew, and I put the phone number in online into a search engine, and it came back as a possible scam robocall. Is that another search engine or something out there that people can do to research?
Well, I've done it too, but the interesting thing is if your cell phone number is being spoofed and used to call other people as a robocall, your personal cell phone is not a scam, but your number's been used. And so, you can do that to kind of see if there are other people who have reported the same thing with that number. But really what it comes down to is if you feel the need or if you have to pick up the phone, if you're waiting on a call or what have you, if you're in a business where you have to answer the phone, pay attention when you answer the phone. If it's not a call you've been waiting on, just hang up the phone. There are some instances where people are allowed to make robocalls to you. Those are political information. So, for example, your child's school is able to, and usually that's something you opt in or opt out of, but they can call you, and that's a legitimate robocall. There could be emergency information that would be called to you, again, falling under informational. And then also, if you have a business relationship with the company. So let's say, for example, your bank or your landscaping company, or even your bank may have a subsidiary business. That's technically still a business relationship. So there are some loopholes, and if you kind of chain together the business relationship, sometimes you can figure out how or why they got access to calling you. But where the rubber hits the road is when you pick up the phone. If you pick up the phone, just pay attention. And if they start asking for information or talking to you about things that are really out of the blue, like, I wasn't planning to refinance my debt and I wasn't planning on taking a vacation. These calls come out of the blue, just hang up the phone.
It can be overwhelming, but sometimes the easiest thing is just to press that end button. So I know the government carriers, as you said, are really doing a lot right now to combat that. Better Business Bureau, I'm sure you guys have a lot of good resources and advice out there for people kind of researching what they can do about robocalls.
Yeah, consumers can search online for BBB scam tracker. And oftentimes, if you've received a call, whether it be a robocall or sometimes they'll leave a voicemail message, and they're offering things like to fix your computer online or to fix your computer over the phone or technology fixes, things like that. They say they're from Microsoft. They say they're calling about your past IRS debt, things like that. Scam-related robocalls, consumers can certainly search on Scam Tracker by using the keyword to see if, their neighbors or people in North America have reported similar things, so that you can kind of, it can be your double check. If your gut says there's something not right here, check with BBB, check with Scam Tracker, and we can help kind of put that to rest. At the end of the day, if you're not sure, use BBB, use our staff as kind of your, your fail-safe. Give us a call, contact us online. You can reach us also at askholly@wkmg.com. You can reach BBB at bbb.org. Lots of contact information there. If you're not sure, contact us first and let us help you. We would rather save you from trouble than help you dig your way out.
And I tell you what, I suppose right now, as the carriers and the government, and as we all press that hang up button, robocalls are sort of that thing we have to deal with at the moment, but we can all relate to it. But I think if we all work together, like you're saying, we can really stop this nuisance.
Yeah, we're really just trying to help cut back on the losses. We want consumers to hang on to their money so that they can spend it with reputable businesses, so that they can spend it in ways that really make a difference for them in their lives and not losing the money to scammers.
So if you have a question for Holly, she's not going to call you and put you on an automated unless you want her to.
That's right.
They can email you.
Yeah, askholly@wkmg.com, and then obviously you can reach us also at bbb.org. Phone numbers, social media, email addresses are all there so that you can reach us. We have consumers contact us a lot about things that they don't maybe feel comfortable talking to their family or friends about. Maybe it's embarrassing. Maybe they've made a purchase or they're having an online relationship with someone that they feel may be taking advantage of them, and they don't want to tell their loved ones or they don't want to tell their friends. Let us help you, kind of check your gut. Help you navigate those situations. We hear, these stories all the time. We want to help. We would much rather help you before you get into trouble.
They are the pros, and she's a pro right here. Thank you, Holly Salmons from the Better Business Bureau, for joining us, and thank you out there for joining us. Next time, we'll have more good stuff on Ask Holly.